one of the things we're very proud of with the new regions that we're showing is the fact that we have very little zoning in the major overlands. There are actually only 4 major overland zones, but it's the equivalent of 9 zones. It's very, very large, and it's really neat the fact that you can go through these different environments within the same zone without taking the player out of the fun. We're going to have some legendary armor sets as well. We're going to also have a couple fabled armor sets and any other armor that is as needed as we progress through the creation of Kunark, which we are still in the process of doing. We haven't hit beta yet, but we're getting pretty close. Most of the zones are in production at this moment as I am here demoing this. We're very, very close to getting them done, and we'll be seeing some friends and family beta pretty soon for the close friends to the developers and things like that, and then they're going to be eventually bringing in the rest of the players over the course of the next 2 months.
Well, it's very impressive looking, and I really like the dragon character.
Now the Sarnak are pretty much, they're based off of a dragon-like race, so when you take a look at it, they have a very dragon-like appearance. They have horns and scales. We have several different scale patterns that you would choose from that give them a totally different appearance. Like, for example, the female Sarnak, one of the scale patterns has a definitive-looking iguana appearance. It's a very tight scale pattern. It's really unique looking. They have spots all over their backs. They look great. And each one of them, they also have various horn patterns as well. So they have some that flare out in different directions, or some of the horns curl and look like a ram, or things like that. The idea is, these guys are only about 30-40% complete. We actually have quite a few patterns that we aren't even showing here in the game right now. We're only showing like 3 or 4 per character type. So the story of the Sarnak here, they're pretty much rediscovering who they are. They haven't been active very long. The player will discover through a series of quests what has happened to them, but in the past they were pretty much wiped out through the course of all the wars that took place in the 500 years that has taken place since EQ1. They were near extinct and then fled over to the timorous Steep Islands and tried to regroup and regain their strength, but unfortunately some cataclysms took place. Luckland blew up, and then a giant chunk of Luckland flew into the water, and everybody got wiped out. Pretty bad for everybody involved, but the Spearock, luckily for them, they can fly away, so they got away. What ends up happening is all the Sarnak get washed away, except for the few that were remaining within Gorwyn, and they had to start over, and the Spearock played a key role in that. But the Spearock also played a key role in hiding what their past was, because some of these guys didn't know any of their history, and they've been dormant for quite a long time, but now that they're active again, they have to rediscover who they are. And that's part of the player's role playing a Sarnak, is they get to rediscover what they are.
So, with the Sarnak, is their tail one of the weapons that they can use?
We have considered a tail swipe as being a possible attack for them. Currently, we do not have one in place for them, because we've done strikes like that before. They don't exactly work very well. It doesn't look like it connects very well in combat. Most combat is done through spells or through forward-facing attacks using their weapons, and it just doesn't really connect very well. But they do have a breath weapon attack. They shoot flame out of their mouths, and we've done some experimenting with the super jump, where they can leap much further than your normal player, but the current implementation of that hasn't been very successful, and it may or may not make it into the final implementation of the Sarnak.
What about a bite attack?
Well, depending on the character class, they could have an attack that is an equivalent of that, but there's not a particular planned bite attack where they have an animation that is directly tied to that.
I was just basing the questions on the attributes of the Sarnak.
No, they have big teeth. It looks like they would probably take a bite out of you.
Yeah, imagine, them using a bite attack and then shooting flame. That would definitely take care of some.
Oh, yeah. Well, the animations aren't 100% complete. As I said, they're not a completely finished product yet, but we're getting there. We're getting really close. They're looking really great. Currently, he's wearing Defiler class armor right now, so it's got a really nice look to him.
the way the horns are on this particular Sarnak. He almost looks like an Asian-style dragon.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. We have a lot of influence from the Asian art. We actually have a lot of Asian art incorporated into Everquest II. Our Soga studio in Taiwan, they actually do some of the zone art for us in several areas of the game. We also have models in the game that are based strictly for the Asian market that we've allowed players to change their characters to if they so choose. So we have a choice between more than one look if they choose to go for that. It's kind of cool. They have a more anime, Asian influence to them. They have neat hair. They have more colors available to their hair. When we did Darklight Wood and Neriak, which were free releases that we just did several months ago, that was another starting city for the Aerosai race, which is a winged fairy-like race. The Soga studio was responsible for creating all of the art for those zones, and we worked in conjunction with them to get that done. And we released all that content for free to the players as a thank you for staking with Everquest II. And here, try out some new content and have a good time. And it's another way for new players to get into the experience.
Well, I thank you very much for taking the time to show us Everquest II, the Rise of Kunark.
That's right, Rise of Kunark, where it's going to be available to purchase on November 13th.
Thank you again, Steve.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.